Welcome to Celebrate Mentorship, how a culture of mentorship can drive meaningful connections. I'm Jasmine, and I'm thrilled to have everyone here for today's session. We'll just give it about another minute so everyone can trickle in. Okay, great. So before we get started, a few quick housekeeping notes to ensure a smooth experience for everyone. Your audio is muted upon entry. Feel free to adjust your Zoom view to speaker view for the best experience. And we'd love to know who's joining us. So please go ahead and drop your name and institution in the chat. Next slide, Jen. Oh, and audience engagement. Throughout the session, we encourage you to engage. Use those emojis. We love them. Use the chat to connect with other attendees. And don't hesitate to submit your questions at any time through the Q&A function. We'll get to as many as we can at the end of the webinar. And with that, I'm excited to present today's speakers. We have Erin Mayhood, CEO of Mentor Collective, and Jennifer Kaios, Customer Education Manager at Mentor Collective.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. Hello, everybody. I'm Erin, the CEO of Mentor Collective. I just really want to thank you all for joining us. What a good time for this particular topic. I know many of your campuses are in celebration mode. I'm seeing all of those great posts about graduation, the smiles on the stages. And so just thank you for joining us at such a busy time of year. We really, really appreciate it. From our perspective here at Mentor Collective, mentorship is absolutely more than a program that you run on your campuses or in your organizations. It is a strategic advantage. And I think right now, with everything that we're experiencing in terms of market dynamics, funding dynamics, and all of the things that we are talking about day after day, every strategic advantage and every move that we can make to build capacity on our campuses and provide more personalized support for our students and uplift them during this time is just such a win and worth celebrating. On the screen today, you see examples of things that we celebrate. We'll talk about how to celebrate a culture of mentorship on your campus. Jen is going to lead us through that. But I also want to say that after visiting campuses around the country, all this year, that we celebrate the work that we see happening every day with you and your teams. We're seeing things like tremendous uplift in persistence and retention numbers. And UW Green Bay's mentorship program, look at the retention numbers of mentees versus non-mentored students. It makes such a huge difference to students when they have somebody who's behind them, uplifting them. I also want to celebrate the utilization of campus resources. I know you and your teams put a lot of heart and soul and thought into the services and resources that you provide students. And we know that there's a big gap in utilization for students who might be experiencing reluctance to leverage those resources, or maybe they're not even aware of these resources. And we know and celebrate how mentorship really increases utilization of those campus resources, and calling out career resources specifically on this slide and how UNC Greensboro mentees access those career resources so much more frequently than non-mentored students. And then finally, I wanted to share and celebrate a change that we're really seeing on around the country right now, where employers are recognizing how important mentorship is and how they should be participating with students and learners around the country to help secure better jobs and help support them through experiential learning. And so I love when I see how employers are seeing so many more students succeeding post internship, and these experiences are really, really heartening. And we're seeing different students winning jobs around the country. So from our perspective, mentorship is absolutely mission critical to helping our students through their journey. Now, The journey that I find myself talking about more and more is related to the education to career gap. I'll say 2 years ago, persistence and retention was the primary topic on campuses. And that is still true. That is table stakes, I think, at this point. And we always need to be laser focused on that. But there's more and more strategic initiatives and focus on the education to career gap. And at this point, running close to 1,500 mentorship programs, we've seen a very, very clear trend that students often need more support navigating these key moments. They might be navigating through academic challenges, decisions about their major, and then the search for internships, and then that first job. These are common and solvable challenges, but when you're in it, it can feel really, really challenging. And we often on campuses see that these challenges are addressed in silos. We have advising, career services, employer engagement, and they're not always connected from the student's perspective, which can make it hard for the student to see the clear path forward. And this is also another thing we celebrate about mentorship, where mentorship comes in and offers connection, guidance, and a sense of continuity across the student journey. So I always like to say mentorship isn't just about support, it's about connection. It's about creating coherence to the student experience, aligning academic, career, and personal development. And it really does, we see every day, encourage help seeking behavior and creating a space for that supportive accountability where students feel both seen and empowered to take action. Mentorship can turn isolated touch points into a more continuous and seamless journey. And it transforms for our students uncertainty into feelings of confidence, and disconnection can really turn into belonging. That's the power and the promise of a true culture of mentorship. Jen's going to pull up what is a really crazy slide. And those of you, if I've been on your campus recently, you know I'm a huge fan of this slide right now because I really like to talk about mentorship not only being one to one and one and done. This is really a journey, and mentorship is always in motion. And from the moment a student is exploring their new campus or their new educational environment where peer mentors are supporting the transition and building belonging and confidence, to that point where they're really starting to discover and build those skills, more career focused mentors help them feel connected in terms of their academics and those future goals. And then, of course, we get to like straight on career preparation, alumni, industry members, coaching, networking, and this launch from the school support. And then career success. We talk a lot about upskilling. We talk a lot about reskilling these days with new technologies, and mentors can really help us all, regardless of professional stage, navigate new roles, help build confidence in times of high learning curves, and really grow professionally. And I hope that you're all seeing on this slide the key stakeholders that are named. I might not be using the words exactly as they exist on your campus, but mentorship, when done correctly, and when you get the highest outcomes, it involves more than the mentee and the mentor. It involves all of you, and you play such an important role in creating this culture and responding to what you learn through these mentorship relationships. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Jen Kaios, who is going to go through what we'll learn in this event. And Jen, just thank you for picking this up.
Sure. Thanks, Erin. Yeah, so you all heard Erin talk about the culture that happens at an institution or an organization when mentorship is thriving. And I'm here to talk about one way to build that culture, which is celebration, right? So to recognize and celebrate your participants really across your organization from all levels. So we're going to talk today about strategies for on how to do that, how to recognize and celebrate folks, as well as how celebration can build momentum. It can drive mentorship forward and push those outcomes that you're looking to accomplish forward. Of course, we'll go into tons of real examples. We have lots of examples for you. Some examples that are quite actionable that you could bring coming back literally this afternoon and say, hey, I think we should do this this week or tomorrow, and also some broader ideas that maybe take more strategic thought and collaboration. So something to noodle on as you go into planning for next year. So let's get started. So first, if you've been following Mentor Collective over the last few months, we've been talking a lot about this culture of mentorship. So let's talk quickly about what that framework is. We actually just published a white paper that takes a deep dive into the research behind this, the methodology that shaped it, and of course those real world examples of folks putting this into practice. And Jasmine, if you don't mind, if you could drop that link in the chat, that would be great. So, research suggests that there are 6 elements that lead to a culture of mentorship. When put into practice, this culture, it's strategic, it's data informed, it's resourced, it's participant centered and visible. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about the last element, which is celebrated. It's also celebrated. That is such a key component of building a culture at your institution. It really means embedding celebration into the fabric of your organization from top to bottom. So let's go ahead with that introduction. We're going to get started. So, what does it mean to celebrate, right? So, I know what it means to celebrate, right? Party hats and all of that. But it means so much more than that for a mentorship program. And it's often one of the most overlooked pieces of your mentorship program. So when we're talking about celebration, we're talking about an actual mindset. We're talking about that the work of your participants, both your mentors and your mentees and the stakeholders that bring your program to life, all of that work is recognized, it's valued, and most importantly, it's supported and championed at every level of your organization. We've seen over and over again that the very successful mentorship initiatives are the ones that are championing mentorship across departments, across leadership levels, across roles. It is, again, it's embedded into the fabric of the institution. It's not just one person or an event or something that you do as a one off, it's a cross functional effort that changes a culture, changes a mindset. A good example of this in practice to start us off would be at San Francisco State University. There they have associate deans from every college who are involved in one centralized mentorship initiative. So that kind of broad engagement has allowed leadership to see mentorship as both vital for student success and then also to enable them to create a structure that allows for a deep collaboration between all units that interact with every college at the university. So their result is that more students are engaged, more mentors are supported and recognized. And again, that culture, that mindset, a feeling of connection has happened across their campus. Celebration also isn't just structural, it's also quite personal, right? So leaders at all levels need to be active in engaging with recognition and promoting of mentorship. And that might mean sharing their own success stories, maybe on social media. We'll talk later in today's presentation about some examples of how institutions have shared things in other ways other than social media, as well as maybe nominating participants for recognition, for awards, or maybe even just so simple, making space on meeting agendas just to highlight the impact of mentorship, just to talk about mentorship. When your senior leadership is showing up to speak at a mentorship event or to champion mentorship in this way, it carries weight, right? It sends a clear message across the organization that mentorship isn't extra. Like you heard Erin say earlier, it's not optional, it's essential, right? We see it as a vital component to student success. So with that, let's turn, of course, to some examples of what this looks like in practice. So my first example I want to call out is at University of California, Davis. And I just love this example so much. They have truly made mentorship a part of their culture in all ways. All students know that mentorship is a value add for their experience at UC Davis. So they know that they're getting an extra at UC Davis, and that extra is mentorship, right? That is part of their experience. We're going to hear Dr. Helen Frazier, who is Assistant Dean for Student Success Initiatives at the College of Biological Sciences at UC Davis. She'll speak in her own words here in this clip about how they've made that culture happen.
I mentioned, we really try to emphasize the value and the culture of mentoring at UC Davis. That we want to ensure every one of our incoming students recognizes what mentorship is, that mentorship is not simply somebody who tells you what to do. Mentorship is someone who is helping listen to you, helping guide you, and present tools to you, and encouraging you to make some choices about how to leverage those tools, how to leverage the choices that are available to you. We also really work to emphasize that mentorship starts as an incoming student, that mentorship continues throughout your first year, that mentorship continues as you transition from being a mentee to being a mentor, and that mentorship continues when you engage with faculty, upper division students, graduate students, postdocs, research scientists at the university to get involved in mentored experiences with research, with internships, with practicums, and being able to translate what you learn in your classes into those mentored experiences and vice versa.
Awesome. Yeah. So as more students are feeling celebrated for engaging in mentorship, more students are actually engaging in mentorship, right? And that means that more students also see the value of being part of the UC Davis community at large, right? Maybe they'll extend and they'll stay for graduate school, right? You've heard Dr. Fraser talk about how mentorship carries through from year one all the way through into those graduate level opportunities. UC Davis, because as one of the reasons that they have seen increases in student success belonging is actually because of this focus on mentorship. This has created a momentum at their organization, an increase in engagement, and it's really a direct result of the institution prioritizing recognition of mentorship and making mentorship a truly visible part, a celebrated part of their overall institution's culture. All right, so now let's take a look at a few of the tangible ways that you might celebrate mentorship through a cross functional approach. Like, how can you actually do this? A great way to get started is through your program's data. So, the data that you might share includes participation data, maybe conversation logs, matching statistics, or maybe more qualitative insights like narratives or testimonials from your participants. Maybe they have a story to share about how the program has had an impact on their student experience. These individual stories really bring your data to life and can give others who maybe aren't familiar with mentorship or as familiar with the impact of your program, they can give them a deeper understanding of the value of mentorship. And you can actually find most of that information, including the testimonials, the participation data, right in your Mentor Collective partner dashboard. So, Jasmine, I'm going to go ahead and ask you if you can drop the links in the chat for where folks, if they're looking for where that data might be, Jasmine will put a Knowledge Center article or two in there to help you find that data. So once you've gathered that, the next step would be to analyze it and share it strategically. And a very cool way to do this is through an impact analysis. So an impact analysis is a tool that allows you to look at your mentorship's impact on outcomes that your program might have, maybe sense of belonging, student retention. We heard Erin say earlier, retention is table stakes, right? So maybe you're looking at how has mentorship impacted retention at my university? Or maybe it's something else, academic progress, career readiness, something that your institution has prioritized and maybe focusing on. Maybe you're thinking about a way to position your company, maybe to increase employee retention. Maybe you're looking at initiatives aimed at increasing career readiness, like I said, or sense of belonging. Really think about what your program goals are, and then also what the goals of others at your organization are. How can you align? And that way, when you're doing your impact analysis, it's that much easier to celebrate together and then increase buy-in when you see progress. So we have a kit that walks you through how to do this step by step. It takes you through, video demos. There's a webinar and the research behind it. There's templates and spreadsheets that make it easy for you to do this on your own. And Jasmine will also drop that in the chat as well. So it'll walk you through how to do that impact analysis. And again, I just want to reiterate, when your mentorship program goals and your data are in alignment with others, it becomes just so much easier to gain that buy-in. right? And so a great example of this, what I have up here on the screen, that phase and outcome activities, is at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. So they actually linked their mentorship goals to their quality enhancement plan as part of their accreditation process through, I believe it's SAC-COC, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on College. So that's their accrediting body that they're part of. So their institution had a goal, right? We have to meet our SAC-COC. We have to get that QEP, quality enhancement plan, up. And so every body of the organization was moving towards that. And one way that they decided to move towards that was through mentorship, right? That's one way that they wanted to meet the student success goals that they had. This meant that every single stakeholder at the institution was bought into mentorship as a strategy, right? And so then when they ran an impact analysis, or they pulled data later, they were able to celebrate their wins together, and push the program forward that much further forward, right? Students were bought in, faculty and staff were bought in. It made it so much easier to change the mindset and really create a culture of mentorship. Another good example of this is at Clark Atlanta University. So they do a celebration of mentorship actually through faculty engagement. So they run a faculty awareness campaign where information about their initiative is shared across the institution, and faculty are encouraged to talk with students about getting involved. So they took their data and they went across the institution to other faculty members and they said, "This is what's going on. It's fantastic. Do you have students that you can nominate to be a part of this program?" So internally championing that culture, that mindset, really helped normalize and elevate mentorship as part of the whole student experience at Clark Atlanta, and it really shifted the mindset forward in thinking how important mentorship is to the student journey there. All right, so I also want to note, while we're talking about data, you want to share your celebratory insights with the right stakeholders, right? So think about the folks who can help grow your initiative or maybe embed mentorship more deeply into your institution. That might be a colleague who is interested in better understanding the student experience. It might be a dean from another department or deans from other departments. It might even be participants who you're looking to recruit, right? So really take time to consider that, and then to think through what wins would be relevant to those audiences. Are there surprising insights that require more conversation? What would be meaningful to the stakeholders that are reviewing this kind of data? This kind of intentional collaborative storytelling makes mentorship more visible, and of course more celebrated across your campus or your organization. A really cool example of this is found at University of Wisconsin Green Bay. So you can see a lot on the screen right now, and this is actually just a screenshot of something that they produced called an impact report. So they collected and analyzed all kinds of data on mentee engagement and outcomes, and it allowed them to have a conversation across their organization about better tailoring their program to enhance career readiness among first generation students. That was a specific goal of theirs for the program. So collecting this data helped, iterate and tailor the program for future improvements. It also allowed folks to see things like career confidence, sense of belonging, academic and career decision self efficacy, which were goals of the institution at large beyond their mentorship program. So, sharing that report institution wide, it allowed folks to pause and reflect for a second and say, "We've made a lot of progress here. This is great." But also to keep in mind, where they want to go in the future, and then also to increase buy in and engagement from faculty and staff in ongoing recruitment, engagement efforts, and making sure that their program was sustainable going forward. Right. And I also want to just call out again, most of the data that you can see up on the screen were captured using the insights available through those data exports on the Mentor Collective dashboard. So this is really doable. It's really quite doable to be able to extract that information, put a report together, and share it as a celebration tool across your institution. All right. So engaged leadership who champion mentorship, it might look like what we just talked about, data, Or it could mean more tangible strategies that you and your leadership could implement, this afternoon, right? So maybe it's something like you could visit office meetings of leaders and explain the connection of your program to their goals. Maybe it is ensuring, like you had heard Erin say earlier about referrals, ensuring that your initiative refers participants to other support services. How can you create an ecosystem through mentorship that pulls together the different parts of your institution, the financial aid office, academic advising, or even human services or human resources at your company? A really simple way to ensure that leaders are engaged is, of course, posting through social media, right? That's that's such a part of our life, and of course a part of our students' lives. So nominating participants for awards and recognition, or something I love, going back to UNC Greensboro, their provost actually drives around their campus on a golf cart and interviews students about their experiences with mentorship, and then he takes those videos and he promotes them on his own social media. So you can see he has, I have a screenshot there from his Instagram. He has kind of a Q&A where he's talking about um, about his mentorship experiences. Maybe your provost or dean could post about the value of mentorship from their own perspective, right? At University of Wisconsin Superior, Dr. Maria Cuzo, who is their provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs, actually recently recorded a podcast about her own experience with mentorship, and you can see a quote from her there at the bottom of the screen. So sharing that story across her institution, again, it sent the clear message that mentorship matters. It is important. It is a vital resource, and it can change the culture at their institution. Another way that leaders might include mentorship as a celebration in the student experience might be something as part of enrollment checklists or orientation programming. So having students see it as a core part of their transition into the institution. At University of Rhode Island, that's where I hail from. I'm down here in Rhode Island, and I love this story. So they take this idea to a whole new level, right? Deans from across the university speak with families during orientation about how beneficial mentorship is, but then they literally walk side by side with families between sessions, and they use those moments personally to share what mentorship maybe has meant to them, or to URI, or to the broader community in that part of Rhode Island. That is a great way to kind of position the movement, the mindset of mentorship beyond the student, right? Like letting the parents know this is really important. It's a way for your student to have access to opportunity in the future, and this is the value add mentorship can bring. You may also host a celebratory event during orientation, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. At Augusta University, they actually host something called a launch week, a full week of different celebrations, including mentorship celebrations. They do tabling events, cookouts, a very strong social media presence, and these events are super fun, right? We all love a cookout, but they're also designed to celebrate the spirit of mentorship and get students and faculty and staff and all leadership across the institution just so excited to participate in the value add this can bring. All right, so I want to move now to talking a little bit more about storytelling, about that element. So, specifically thinking about peer to peer marketing, right, and ownership, how valuable it is to hear about a celebratory experience from a peer. So, it's honestly, it's one of the most effective celebratory tools that you have. Let the participants tell their own stories. At Augusta, during their orientation barbecue, they live stream from the event. So they draw in students who maybe otherwise weren't able to participate, commuter students, students who are off campus, etc. So once the students are engaged in that content, they're invited to join their program. And they've even taken it a step further by actually launching a student-led club called Jags for Jags. And this club markets their mentorship initiative right alongside all of the other student orgs that they have during major events like orientation, or maybe during a student activities, recruitment period, that type of thing. The members promote the program, they recruit participants, and they keep the momentum going all year long. Remember, when I say members, it's student-led. So the students are promoting their own program. Seeing the participants take control of their program and of mentorship, it's really become a very vibrant, peer-driven part of their campus culture. It's very cool. They've also leveraged a graduate assistant who is actually tasked with creating those clever marketing campaigns, like the live stream, in the student voice. So one recent idea that they did that was super cool was a mini mic series on Instagram where they asked students, they went around campus and they asked, how has mentorship made a difference in your life? So simple, right? It was uploaded immediately, and having students share their own experiences of mentorship, how it impacted their lives, the value they got out of it. It captured the voice of the school community, right? It immediately went out to everybody. Folks were able to see that, near and far, and it got mentorship in front of students in a way that maybe we as administrators really couldn't, right? And again, you can get those stories right from the community page on your dashboard. If you're looking for testimonials today, you can download those right from your dashboard. Another cool example of storytelling is focused more on alumni and organizational engagement. So St. Louis University, you can see up on the screen, I have an example from them. They send an alumni newsletter out to folks, and it features an alumni mentor spotlight in each episode. So they do a little Q&A with a mentor to get to know the mentor and what mentorships meant to them and their impact in giving back to St. Louis University. The celebration in this way has really increased engagement among their alumni mentors, but it also demonstrates to both alumni and also to mentees the university's commitment to mentorship post-graduation, right? Mentorship doesn't stop at the end of your four-year experience, not very much not, right? It goes into postgraduate and then career development, and it should be a mindset that you carry with you for the rest of your life, right? And I think highlighting mentorship in this way and celebrating it in this way is one way to capture that. Another partner of ours in the corporate space whose participants are part of an association, they celebrate their participants in a couple different ways. They host special on-site events for mentorship participants at their annual conference. They have an end-of-year celebration, and they even have online events where they share testimonials and, of course, those data insights to celebrate the success and the impact of their program. They also take the time to recognize participants one-on-one. So listening to their stories, thanking them personally for their involvement. And we're going to dive into that next on what thank you notes might look like. So a thank you note, of course, very low lift, but very high impact. It's a great way to recognize and celebrate the stories of your participants in an individual way and to shape a mindset through that. You might want to have your leadership, so a dean, a provost, program coordinator, a vice president, send a short note or even an email to folks at the end of your program. Maybe they add their own story of mentorship, like Dr. Kuzo, right? You might also ask them, like we said earlier, shout out their mentorship story on social media, but also thank folks from that public post, right? From that position, are they able to say, a big thank you to their participants, or even spotlight one or two participants individually? That builds visibility and it affirms, again, the institutional importance of mentorship, which is really that mindset shift that we're talking about when we're talking about celebration. Some additional marketing incentives that come from your organization or your institution that are very, very notable, very cool. Swag. Everybody loves swag. So easy, right? Distribute branded items like t-shirts. Who doesn't love a t-shirt, right? Notebooks, water bottles, umbrellas. Get that out to participants. You can see on the screen that one partner sent out just cookies, right? Cookies, a pin, and a thank you card. And actually, that's a really cool example. The one of the students who received that actually took that image to social media on their personal social media, thanked their university for sending them that package, and the post went viral. And so they had folks signing up for the program because of the native advertising that the student posted saying, thank you to my university for this celebration package. So don't underestimate the power of swag. They create also a sense of belonging, and they help promote your program as others see that gear, whether it's on social media or it's around the office or it's around your campus. Some quick ideas there, like I said, t-shirts, etc., cookies. Maybe it's something that brings you back to the institution. Maybe it's free or discounted tickets to a basketball game or a theater event or a speaker. Maybe it's a free meal for on-campus dining, or maybe it's a discount at the bookstore to get a sweatshirt or something that a student is looking to grab. Lastly, here, I want to call out public relations and marketing. So consider partnering with your organization's communications or PR team to spotlight your mentorship program. The example I have up here on the screen is again Augusta University. So they gained local visibility within their broader community through news features when they were able to secure a spot on the local news that highlighted their mentorship participants. This was such a cool way to celebrate student success, and the students, obviously seeing their name and in the article, it was fantastic. But it also meant that the program showed its impact beyond the campus, right? It elevated the impact mentorship could have in the broader community. So, speaking of that broader community, when we're thinking about career readiness, celebration is really a mindset that pushes into that domain as well. You can think through ideas that connect you to your local community, that maybe provide opportunities to network, things that a student or a participant in your program wouldn't get necessarily unless they were part of that initiative, right? So consider opportunities like a grad students cocktail hour, right? Make sure it's for your grad students or your alumni, but maybe putting together some sort of a special event that allows for some networking opportunity for the folks that joined your program. Maybe it's internships that the local community is able to provide for mentors who have been trained in, mentor training, and they know communication skills and the foundational skills needed to be a good mentor. Maybe someone in the community can come, even an alumni, and put together, or using your career services office, right, can come and bring in a resume building workshop or a lecture series, maybe featuring program alumni. All of these ideas are geared at taking your mentorship program and moving it out into the community. Ensuring career readiness is part of your celebration. We know it's on the minds of our students, our mentors. It's definitely something that they're thinking of, and so it's a great way to both expand your program's impact and also to meet students where they are and support them in what they're looking for. Some additional incentives that are career readiness focused but might come from your institution include maybe scholarship opportunities. Maybe it's a graduation stole or a cord. We've seen some really cool examples with partners giving out special cords for mentors who engaged in maybe their program or a certain number of hours in their program. Maybe it's course credit or it's extra credit that they receive, or maybe it's something that's on their transcript, some sort of a co-curricular entry that says that they participated in this. It also might be a digital badge. We know that that is a big deal for folks, especially on places like LinkedIn or their digital resume. Maybe, as the example on the screen, University of Arizona provides digital badges for students who participate in their mentor program, and they're able to download that, put that on their LinkedIn, add it to their resume. Maybe it's something that you do like that that's branded like your institution. We do provide a training certification for all mentors who complete their mentor training through Mentor Collective. So maybe it's championing that and saying congratulations for completing your mentor training. Maybe it's just copying that template and creating your own certification for participation in your program. I also have up here a recommendation letter. I mentioned that before, but it's such a cool way. You can have a template, and it's such a great way to connect with hundreds, thousands of students in a very personal way, right? So to provide them with a letter for employment or maybe a scholarship opportunity based on their participation in your program. Lastly, I'll say that you might want to get creative with some mentor compensation ideas. So maybe paying mentors doesn't necessarily work out to do, like a full payment for every mentor. But maybe you could pay certain mentors. So maybe having mentor leaders or mentor ambassadors and pay them to hang out in high traffic areas to build awareness. We have one partner who has a community college, and they have paid mentors to hang out in areas like the student activity center, the tutoring center, the writing center, and they're wearing their branded shirts and they're ready to talk about mentorship. And that way, when students come in and they're ready to talk, they need some support, whether it's tutoring or writing help, or they want to engage in a club. There's mentors that are right there that are ready to say, here are the resources on our campus that we can point you to, and also, have you thought about the value of mentorship and what it could do for your career here at the college? So it's been a very cool way for them to boost engagement and recruitment in that way. And I actually have another link I'll ask Jasmine to drop. Mentor Collective has built a rubric that links the elements of the National Association of Colleges and Employers, or you might hear it as NACE. We've linked elements of that to what successful mentorship looks like, and we're calling it the Mentor Competency Rubric. And that's another cool way to give some validation to what your mentors are completing, right? So if you have a paid student employee who has completed their mentorship program, what does that mean? And this is one way to validate that. All right, so many ideas. So as we're coming towards the end here, I wanted to just do a quick recap. There were so many examples that I just shared out, and so I think really quick, it's important to just do a quick recap and reframe and remind ourselves. Celebration is not a one-time event, right? Again, I love a barbecue. I love the one-time events; those are also important, but it doesn't stop there. It is not just a one-time thing. It is a culture. It's a mindset. The most successful mentorship programs are supported across leadership, across departments, across roles. It becomes a valued and visible part of your institution's culture, part of the fabric of your institution. That mentorship is something essential for success. It also, we talked about mentorship being personal and also structural, right? So highlighting stories, testimonials, anecdotes, etc., data and outcomes that showcase mentorship's impacts, and using tools like the impact analysis that we talked about, maybe dashboards that you can use, Mentor Collective's dashboards, to pull that data. Use those tools, but use them to align with your institutional priorities, right? That's how the celebration mindset shifts. And then finally, on that, engage those leaders, right? Engage them through events, social media, program promotion to amplify value and share that story across your institution, really embedding it again into the fabric of your student success plan. Next, we talked about empowering peer voices and community involvement. So important, right? Let students and alumni share their own experiences, create student led clubs, think about storytelling, high visibility moments. How can you draw attention and boost engagement? Recognize the folks that are putting in the work, whether it's a faculty awareness campaign or a faculty celebration, or for the folks that are supporting your program, or a participant led initiative like a live stream, an Instagram campaign, even a barbecue, to draw attention and boost again that recognition that mentorship is important. Again, recognize and incentivize meaningfully. Offer those thank you notes, recommendation letters. What do your students want? Do they want certifications, digital badges, or do they want a t-shirt? Tune in to what your students and your employees are thinking about, and use low cost institutional incentives to show appreciation and promote participation. Lastly, make it sustainable. right? So embedding mentorship into maybe orientation or enrollment checklist, and of course into your campus culture, that makes it sustainable. As you heard Dr. Fraser from UC Davis talking earlier, when their students are thinking about mentorship as a value add from the very beginning, of course it becomes sustainable. It's something they carry with them over and over again as they grow in the institution, as they go beyond into their postgraduate experience, and then again into the community as they prepare for career readiness. So, mentorship needs to be a part of the fabric of your institution in a sustainable way that carries and pushes forward as the individual grows. And finally, on that, I'll wrap up by saying that mentorship really thrives when it is celebrated and supported from all levels. It does not happen by chance. As you've heard today, it is built through intentionality, it is built through strategic alignment, and it is built through ongoing engagement. So, leveraging all of these 6 elements, today you heard, of course, about being celebrated, but by leveraging each of these elements, you even heard me touch on them a little bit: visible, data informed, right? By combining all of those, mentorship becomes so much more than a program. It is part, again, of the fabric of your institution. It's a culture, it is a mindset of your organization. That drives student success, it strengthens your community, and it truly creates a lasting impact. So, with that, I am going to open up the floor for questions. I'll turn it back to you, Erin, to take us home. And thank you so much, everyone, for having me join you today and talk about celebrating mentorship.
Thank you so much, Jen. And we just really, really appreciate these reminders because, yes, it is sometimes hard to remember the celebration part of it. So I just really appreciate bringing that top of mind for us. And I'm encouraging all of you, if you have questions, follow-ups that you want to put in chat, please do. So grateful that you all joined us today, and I hope that hearing things like this really help you return to your campus or your organization with renewed energy and ideation around how to elevate these amazing stories that you are helping to create. You can put spotlights on them with data. You can make celebration. We all need more reasons to celebrate. Make it part of your day-to-day rhythm. So I hope that I'm seeing comments that this was inspiring. I hope this brings a smile to your face as you go into the day. With this, I will keep watching the chat, but I am going to turn it over now to Jasmine about what is going to happen next post-webinar.
Well, of course. So before we wrap, just a quick few notes. You'll receive a copy of the presentation and recording shortly. We want to remind you that the new white paper, The 6 Elements of a Culture of Mentorship, is available. It's a great resource for anyone looking to go deeper into what was covered today. I'll drop the link again in the chat. Let's see. And then also we have some upcoming events that we hope to see you lovely folks at. We'll be at Horizons Annual Summit, June 10th through 11th. And then June 27th through the 30th, we'll be at NASPA, First Gen Forward, First Gen Student Success Conference. As for upcoming virtual events for our partners, we have a few. We have Ask the Expert matching survey data on June 10th, and then on June 17th, we have Ask the Expert institution provided data. And then finally, on June 24th, we have MC Online Partners Meetup, and we'll drop the link for those as well in the chat. Before we go, we have one more quick poll. So we're launching this poll to find out how we can best follow up with you. If everyone just takes a moment to fill out, we'd greatly appreciate it. We would love to keep the conversation going. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you again to everybody. I hope if you are attending some of these events, you come say hello to this great team. Thank you to Jen and Jasmine for all the work you do to bring the stories from other campuses to create community with all of us building cultures of mentorship right now. And we appreciate all of you as you go into summer, a different phase of the academic year. Enjoy, and looking forward to hearing all of the ideas as we kick off our next cycles of mentorship.